Hi everybody, I thought I'd do a quick techniques card today, just showing you how to do this card. This is a partial die cut card, so as you can see it looks like a fairly standard card, but the die cut is part of the layer of the card and is actually cut out of the back of it. So when you open it, as you can see, it's part of the card. You could use this for a single layer card, so it was completely flat if you wanted something completely flat. I have put a couple of dimensional bits on it, and I'll talk about those later. But I thought really it's just a quick technique just to show you how to get this effect so that your card folds with your die cut popping out the top. You do need die cuts to do this, so you need stamps and matching dies or some sort of die cut that you want to pop out of the edge. The ones that I'm using today, they're from Altenew, and it's the Lotus die set and the matching stamps obviously. And I'm using a piece of this is Craftwork cards, the super smooth stamping card, which sadly Craftwork cards don't exist anymore, but maybe you'll be able to get hold of them. There are still websites out there selling some of their products. But any A5 card, or to be honest, any size card that you can fold into your card blank will work for this. I'm just using stamping card because I'm going to stamp directly onto it. The first thing you want to do with this technique is work out where you're going to put your images. So, just to show you what's going on, this is a Crafter's Companion scoreboard which happens to have half fold A5. This is an A5 piece of paper, so that I know if I'm going to fold it in half, the fold will be on this particular line. So what I tend to do is plan where I'm going to put my stamps, just roughly along this line. Now if you haven't got a scoreboard that shows where that line is, what you could do is, I love this piece of kit, this is a T-square. You could rule your line across with a pencil, so you know where that's going to be, you know, measure it and work it out. But you don't want to fold it until you've done your stamping, and it will become obvious why. So let's just line those up like that. So I think they're roughly going to go there. And you could do this just with an acrylic block, but I am going to use a stamping tool. I'm using the Misty today. I have got the tonic one as well, but I'm just using this just so that I know that my lining up are going to stay where I put them. I have some extra magnets on mine, so I'm going to put them there. Hold my card back in the corner. You can just pick them up and stamp them with an acrylic block, especially if you've got a pencil line and you can see where you're stamping. Okay. So I decided not to stamp in black ink for the outline. I thought that was a bit harsh for the lotus flowers, so I'm going to stamp today with this is Altenew Industrial Diamond. So just ink it up. And the fabulous thing about having a stamping tool is you can double stamp and know that you'll get it exactly over the top. So if you don't have one, there's lots of them out there on Amazon, all sorts of different brands now. I think this one, the Misty, was the original one, and I've had mine quite a while. But they all work. They all work on the same principle. So there we go. So we've got our card with our image stamped on it. And that's all you need to start with. You can work out where everything else is going to go later on. Move that one out of the way. Now comes the die cutting part. It's my magnets jumping together. So now we need the coordinating dies for these stamps. And let me just get them out of the packet. I should have taken them out in readiness, shouldn't I? There we go, that one and that one. So what you want to do is lay your dies on top of your image, and you want to tape them down. So I've just got some low tack tape and line them up. Try not to get my head in the camera shot as well. And I reuse my tape lots and lots. So all this in the news about single-use plastic, I use my tape until it really is sticky no more. So there we go, we've got our dies lined up, and what you need to know is I'm just going to mark very lightly the edges where we're going to fold our card. And as I said, you can rule a line across with a T ruler or just with a ruler and pen, but I know now that that's where my half fold is. So on your die cutting machine, it doesn't matter what type of die cutting machine you've got. It can be an electric one, it can be a manual one like this Big Shot is. Let's go that way. I want to only die cut up to that line. So anything that's between the plates will cut, and anything that's above this top plate won't cut. And I've done that the wrong way round. I want the top to cut and not the bottom, don't I? Nearly. We want the top piece to cut on this card. Or we should have had an upside down card, which I have done before. I stamped upside down on a video the other day and I left it in so you could see how I fixed it. So there we go. So my pencil lines, I've lined my top plate up with my pencil lines on each side. So anything above that point is going to cut out, and everything below that point is going to stay not cut out. So once you've got everything lined up, wind it through, wheel it through however you normally would. And then when you take your dies off, hopefully you can see that only the top part is cut and the bottom part is still attached to the card. Let me put this out of the way. Now whatever type of scoring board you've got, all you need to then do is score up to your cut lines. So you can see it's there, here, and obviously probably would have been easier if I'd done it first, but rub your pencil marks out, and then when you fold, if you've done it in the right place, it should all neatly fold. I've not done it perfectly today, but see the idea. There we go. So there we are, have it. I haven't quite cut well enough there, but you can take a tiny bit further with a pair of scissors if you've not quite got it right. All is not lost. So there we go. And this is quite a nice technique for things like flowers. I thought it went quite well with this set because obviously these are lotus flowers or like water lilies. And I have contemplated doing a blue wash, so if I find my original card which I've buried, I thought maybe a sort of wash, watercolour blue wash underneath might look quite nice, but I wasn't brave enough to do it. So there you go. So that was how you do a partial die cut. You just leave the bit you don't want to cut hanging out on your cutting plate. I'm not going to go through how I did the whole card because my head would get in the way for most of the video, because to line up the layered stamping you need to be right over the top of it, so it wouldn't be a very interesting video with the top of my head. But these are quite simple ones. I cut a mask from the sticky post-it notes. These are the sticky all over ones. All I did was cut a mask to get the leaves underneath and the stems, and the same for the smaller one. And then I cut a couple of extra leaves and some of the smaller pieces and just built a little scene. And the hello die cut, that is from Crafty Potential. That's the hello out of the A2 Stitch Rectangles, Dots and Stars set. So that's where the hello die cut came from. And I die cut a piece of white craft foam and stuck that underneath my black die cut, which is just out of a scrap of black card. And the dots on here, it was the first time I'd used it actually, and I did apply them directly on. I thought they'd look like water drops. They're Nouveau crystal drops from Tonic, and this is the Dries Clear set of Nouveau crystal drops. And I thought that worked really well. You have to make sure you leave them to dry, but they dry really solid, and they do look just like water drops. So there we go. That's a quick technique video on partial die cutting and how to get your die cuts to hang off the top of your card. Or you could do it off the side, obviously. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.